Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. So that was a blues in C, and today what I thought I'd talk about is like comping for yourself, right? So when I'm playing there, I've got an organ playing and a bass, organ and bass with the left hand of the organ, and then drums. So there's room for me to comp in between my solo. So the way I approach it, there's a couple of ways. One of the easiest ones is like, that's a blues in C, right? So if I know this is like a C13 chord, right, that I could play, it's too much to play all those notes. One, I don't need the C note because it's in the bass of the organ, and I probably don't need the colour note. So really all I need is those two notes there. In this case, 7 and 3. That gets the point across, right? And so on the D and G string seem to be the sweet spot, right? If I go to the next chord, which is an F7, right, I don't need that. So my first two chords of a blues are this, right? So I might play a phrase like something like, so there I just moved down to the D minor down here, only because I was in that position when I was playing my line, right? Had I been playing up here, like with a phrase, then I might have gone to those two notes, which basically comes from this. So what you could do with the blues to get started on this is just look at where your chords are, right? There's just simple shell voicing, right? C7, F7, back to C7, right? And then your next one's going to be 2, 5, 1. So if you know that much, you're started, right? And then of course down here. Now, I just dropped the root note. This ends up being that. And then D minor, but I'm still picturing the root note, I'm just not playing it. And then if I happen to play a phrase there, now the important thing is that you don't disrupt your melodic idea. The melodic idea has to come first, the comping is second, right? So I'll drop the comping if I don't need it. Like if I'm going, and then maybe, so I just put a little bit of comping on to move me to the 4 chord, but that was really just about the point of filling a gap, really, in that instance. I'm not trying to interrupt my melodic idea, because the melodic idea has to come first, right? So that's a good approach, right? The middle 2 strings to comp for yourself. And you can do this when you're comping for other instruments as well, of course. But this is just when I'm comping for myself, right? So if I'm in a trio that's bass, drums, and guitar, then I do this stuff like often, right? The other thing I do too is I start to play like more full chords. And what I do is I use these chords here as the rhythm. There's the D and the G string stuff that I talked about, but then I'll do stuff like, right, just this F7, F13, F7, or F9 I should say, F9, F13, F9 to C9, right? Right, and that becomes an accent amongst it. So it could be something like, So you see there, I had a very melodic idea, but it was like it became an accent with all those voicings, right? Or so there I played my standard comping, as I mentioned, on the middle 2 strings, but then I put those other chords on the end to go to kind of create some interest. So those are kind of the 2 main approaches I use when I'm comping for myself. Like I said, in a trio of just drums, bass and guitar works great. In this case I was giving an example with an organ trio. Works really great. So that's on a blues. Now we can do the same thing with more complex tunes too. Something like, say, Autumn Leaves, for example. C minor, F7, B flat, E flat, A minor 7 flat 5, D7 sharp 9, G minor, right? We'll just end up being so you can see it becomes a bit of a sequence. And again, I would just have 2 positions. Right, and that was starting from C minor here. Maybe we might have another one that goes here. Probably not so good because I'm going to run out of room, so maybe I'd look at C minor up here. Alright, gets all your chord points across. Anyway, that's another one to start with. Autumn Leaves or any tunes like that, and then you can get into more complex tunes, you know, like Giant Steps or whatever you're up to. But start with those, right? But that's just a good way of kind of comping for yourself. And what it does is it creates this sort of drive to the playing, right? It's not just single notes anymore. People can hear the harmony a little clearer, hopefully. Right. Anyway, I hope this has been useful. If it has, please subscribe. If you like this stuff, share it with people. Anyone you know who's into this kind of stuff, music, or it doesn't have to be jazz guitar, it just could be music in general. Yeah, if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. But the most important thing is that you've watched. And if you've watched this far, I really appreciate you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're from. I always like to hear where people are from. I get people tuning in from all around the world, and that's mind-blowing that people, I had a guy the other day, yesterday I think he said he tuned in from Germany, and I'm like, wow, it's like literally the other side of the world, well, just about, and can reach people really quickly with that stuff. So thanks very much. I'll play out on more of that blues,